You too. It's Tone back with another one for you. This one here is Meet Your Straw Man. So this is gonna be the first part of the series that I'll do on this book here for educational purposes, obviously, right? And let's get right into this shit because it's I think it's a long book, so I'll just get to reading it. If I have any commentary, I'll throw that shit in. You know I will. So let's get into it. So right here it says, meet your strong man and everything else that you want to know. It says, happy is the man that findeth wisdom and the man getteth understanding. So, one comes with the other, and you really don't get wisdom unless you go through the fire, which is why I'm actually grateful for having went through all the trials and tribulations, because it made me who I am today, put me in a position to be able to share my fucking experience, which led to my knowledge and essentially turned into wisdom, right? Otherwise, you're just reading somebody else's story, and what do you really gain from that? So governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Okay, so you have to consensually allow these motherfuckers to govern you. They can't just do it. Even the devil has to knock on your door. You can't just walk in. Know that. Know that. So here, let's have a little quiz. Who meets there? This is a picture of the White House. Who meets there? What do they do there? Do they help you in any way? If your answers were members of the government, they represent all the people living in the country. Yes, they create laws to protect me and my family. Then let me congratulate you on getting every one of your answers wrong. Didn't do too well on that quiz. Okay, so let's have another go. When was slavery abolished? When was slavery legal? Are you in debt to a financial institution? Well, are you? Do you think you are? Tell you right now, you only are if you think you are. Straight up, you only you only are if you think you are. So here are the answers. The serving officers, they are the serving officers of a commercial corporation. They think up ways to take money and goods from you. That's their only job. No, absolutely not. They help themselves and not you. Okay, they're not there for your fucking benefit at all. They're supposed to be, and they only are if you fucking hold them to it. But they have no obligation to entertain your bullshit the same way you have no obligation to entertain theirs. Really that simple. So slavery has never been abolished, and you yourself are considered a slave. Yes, slavery is legal, although it is not lawful. You need to discover the difference. I'll tell you what the difference is. Legal is the system that they created. So they created a business called the legal system, and they make you think that everything that they talk about that's legal is lawful, but it's not. Legal has to do with their codes and statutes, bylaws, and fucking policies. Lawful is common law, do no harm, there is no fucking crime. That's the fucking difference. So legal is not fucking lawful. Okay, know that. So no, you are not in debt to any financial institution. Does this seem a little strange to you? If it does, then read on. Those in power have a big secret. Paying tax is optional. Registering a vehicle is optional. Paying a fine is optional. Attending a court is optional. Okay, but they're not going to tell you that. They're only going to give you the options that they want you to pick from. They're not going to tell you what all your fucking options are. It's like when you go to McDonald's, they're not going to tell you that Burger King has a better fucking cheeseburger that's cheaper. They're not going to, why the fuck would they tell you that? They're trying to get you to buy their bullshit. They're not going to fucking tell you what all your options are. They're going to tell you what the fuck options that they want you to pick from. Think about that. So you can if you want to, but you don't have to. Surprised? Well, try this on for size. Every mortgage and loan is fully prepaid from day one. You can pay it again if you want to, but you don't have to. If nobody has told you that you have a straw man, then this could be a very interesting experience for you. Your straw man was created when you were very young, far too young to even know anything about it. But then it was meant to be a secret at its purpose to swindle you, and it has been used very effectively to do just that since the day it was created. All right. So what the fuck, huh? That's a little strange. If you didn't know that, then fucking welcome back to fucking reality, I guess. So here we go. Let's go here. Perhaps it is about time that you learned about your strong man and how you can stop it from being used against you. Knowing about it is the most important step. You need to go You need to go on a journey of discovery, and I'm afraid that what you are about to discover is not very pleasant. And I mean, I'm not gonna front either. Like when I first started learning about this shit, it was mixed emotions. You know, I was pissed off that I had gotten fucking played my whole life, but then I was kind of grateful for actually realizing that I didn't have to live that way anymore at that point. So you're gonna go back and forth with your fucking emotions when you start to realize who it is that you are, who they're not, and all that. The biggest thing that you need to fucking know is that, you know, and I'll just be straight up. So the biggest thing that you need to know is that fucking death is a lie. Death has got to be the biggest fucking lie that they've ever told anybody. And so that's, you know, when you can get past that, then this shit will be easier to fucking digest. Because I think a lot of the hardest shit for the older people is gonna be realizing that they wasted their whole life getting fucking played and being a slave when everything was already paid for. Your mortgage was already paid for. Your car was already paid for. Your taxes you never had to pay. You never had to fucking work for everything that you fucking have and own and need to fucking survive. It was all a game. But when you understand that you don't just live once and fucking that's it, because if you think like that, this is going to be really hard for you to fucking understand. And if you're really an ego-based person, this is going to be really tough for you to understand, because you're not going to be able to get past the fact that you got lied to, because you're programmed to believe that you're smarter than that. That could have never happened to you. That you know it all, right? That you could have never got programmed at all, right? That's your ego. Get the fuck over that. It happens to all of us. So, however, if you decide to act on what you learn, it could change your life for the better. If you think that you are in debt, then you can get out of it if you are willing to stand up for your rights and refuse to be swindled any longer. Interested? If so, then let's start at the beginning and find out where your strawman came from and why you should care about it. It all started when your parents had a happy event and you entered the world. You didn't know exactly when that was, because you're not aware of the day in the week, right? And so, I mean, do we even fucking know? No, I just know what the fuck that they told me. And maybe they, you know, hopefully they're right. So, because then my birth chart would be right. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the months of the year and even the year it was born. Who knows? They fucking said it happened on this day. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Who knows? Even after some months had gone by, you were still not aware of these things. But by the time your straw man had already been created, it was being used to make some very unscrupulous people rich. None of this was your fault. It happened because your parents were fooled into thinking that they needed to register your birth and get a birth certificate for you. So they applied for a birth certificate, not understanding what would happen when they did. Well then, what did happen? According to the local authority, they lost ownership of their baby you. They allowed a straw man to be created. Mind you, they didn't lose you. They signed a piece of paper and they created a fictional fucking character. They never have jurisdiction over you. They only have jurisdiction over the paper. They don't have jurisdiction over your physical body or your children's physical body. They do not have that authority. So stop giving it to them. All right. So this is not something which they can be blamed for, as nobody told them it would or even could happen. Nor did anybody tell your parents what a straw man is or how it could be used against their baby. In fact, the registration is a contract which is in reality null and void, because there was no full disclosure by the local authority, nor was there intent to contract on the part of your parents, right? Lack of full disclosure nullifies the contract ab initio. So from the beginning, that contract is void because they failed to disclose all of the details involved. So you're not obligated and you're not bound by that shit. So that's why we do our process with the UCC1 and we capture that motherfucker in commerce. So we kidnap that bitch. We kidnap their fucking slave and we whip our own slave. They're not going to be whipping it for us. All right. So the registering of a baby's birth passes ownership of the baby of the local authority, and that alone allows the local authority to take the child away from the parents if they ever want to do that. It doesn't give them the authority to, but they want you to believe that it does. Even this book is not 100% correct in the fact that they do not have the authority over you or your physical body or your children's physical body at all. But they do want you to believe that they do. So this applies until the child reaches the age of maturity. So, set by the current legal statutes, doing this is not lawful, but after the birth has been registered, it is legal. You see the difference? So, it's not lawful for them to fucking try to kidnap you or your baby, but it's legal for them to do that. So, really all that they can take is the fucking paper. So, they can take the BC, they can take the social, they can physically take possession of those, but not your physical body. You need to know that. So it is legal, and there is a world of difference between those two terms, a difference which it is very important that you become clearly understood, right? So what is a straw man? A straw man is a fictitious legal entity created with the hope that the child grows up and he will be fooled into believing that he is actually the straw man, which most of us definitely do. And I fucking thought it was me too the whole fucking time. And pay all sorts of imaginary costs and liabilities which get attached to the strongman by con artists. So how is the strongman created? Well, the mechanism involves the unnecessary birth certificate, which the parents imagine is about and belongs to their baby, neither of which is actually true. It isn't true. So if the baby has been named James and the family name is Martin, then you would expect the birth certificate to have the name James Martin printed out on it. If that is what is printed out on it, then all is well, and it is a genuine birth certificate and nothing more. However, if any other name is there, then the document is not a birth certificate, but instead a creation of the strongman masquerading as James Martin. The alternative entries might be on the following examples: James Martin, Mr. James Martin, Master Martin, Mr. James, or anything else, which is not exactly James Martin and nothing else. Right? So they're creating additional fucking characters by fucking with the name and mix matching and shit like that. And they do that a lot. Even by changing a fucking initial, whatever, things like that. A lot of that happens. So what makes it even worse is the fact that they will never tell you that they have switched from English to legalese, and that is dishonest, underhand, and unscrupulous. Then I don't know what it is. If your answer to the question believing that English is being spoken, then they pretend that you are contracting with them to become subordinate to them. Whether or not this is actually true is debatable, because that is effectively a verbal contract between you and them. And for any contract to be valid, there has to be full open disclosure of all the terms of the contract, and then unreserved acceptance by both parties in these cases. Equal consideration has to be granted by both entities parties for a contract to be valid in law. Right? So, and that has most definitely not occurred. So, but what is the point in all this? Well, the point is to maneuver is to intend to trick you into agreeing to represent your strongman. Why? Well, that's a good question. But to answer it takes a bit of explaining, and you need to understand this overall situation. All humans are born equal with the complete freedom of choice and action. If you live in the same place and as a lot of other people, then there are a few restrictions that you have grown up by common consent over time. And these restrictions are for your protection. And then we'll get back into the next fucking. I didn't know that this was going to be done so fast either. So next time I'll do a little bit longer of a slide. So this is the introduction into Meet Your Strawman. So buckle the fuck up, because you guys are going to love this shit. And it is a game of chess. Stop playing chess with these fucking assholes. That's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.